Hey folks, this is a little unusual, but the podcast episode that follows this very short introduction, if you will, would have been just fine by itself. It is a good episode. I have a wonderful, very incredible, inspirational guest in Carmen Brewster, and she talks a lot about community in the work that she's doing. And I hope you hear what she has to say about it. But I am not satisfied because the whole time I'm editing it, there's this little voice in the back of my head telling me you can't publish without mentioning what Timothy Snyder said in his book on tyranny. And that is, for those of you who haven't read it, in a nutshell, fascism cannot survive as long as we have strong community. And that idea that he shared with us is very, very big and present in this episode. And I, as the host, failed to mention that during the episode. And I couldn't publish it without somehow calling it to attention. So there you have it, folks. Think about that, about what Timothy Snyder said as you watch this video. And enjoy. When you get done, I hope that you will be as inspired as I am. I donate to help Carmen in her work as often as I can, and I hope that you will too. Good day.
Hey there, this is the Resistor Vic Podcast. I'm here to get folks thinking about politics as something that's really about regular people like you and me, and to realize that together we can make a difference. I'm Vic Myers. Welcome to The Resistance, and this is the Resistor Vic Podcast. I'm here tonight with Carmen Brewster. If you're on TikTok, you might know her as Carmen B, not in Idaho. And I'm going to let her explain that name to you here in a minute. I asked Carmen to be on this show tonight because she is an inspiration to me. Her story is incredible, what she's gone through and how she's turned to take what, I don't know if tragedy is the right word or horror or what, but how she chose to take that and turn it into something amazingly positive. It is an inspiration that I think the world should know about. So without further ado, welcome, Carmen, to the Resistor Vic Podcast.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, Vic. I'm so honored to be here. And, I love Colorado as a fellow Coloradoan.
Yep.
I did used to live in Idaho. I actually lived in Idaho for the majority of my adult life. And I wouldn't have left if it wasn't for their dystopian laws trying to kill me. Some people may recognize me. I'm the woman who went viral for a 19-day miscarriage. I got denied multiple times from multiple ERs healthcare, not just like going in and waiting and going through the whole process and getting sent home. There was one hospital that told me before I even got past the waiting room that they wouldn't have been able to help me. I went to multiple cities, technically multiple states. And so I decided, because there's people like me that don't have places to go, even though people were saying that all the infrastructure that needed to exist did, there were a lot of people like me that fell through the cracks. So we've been trying to build that infrastructure since, or
Well,
building
before we get all
pathways
to
and
that,
communities.
before we get to all that, let's
Yeah.
back up a little bit. When did all this happen to you in Idaho?
December of 2022. December 8th of 2022, I finished my chemical all clear in January. I technically spent Christmas and New Year's in pain and sick.
Oh. And
It was hard.
one of the things that amazes me when I came across your videos is I'm thinking this woman is in obvious horrible pain and fear, and she has the presence to pick up her phone and record what's going on. What compelled you to do that?
The first time that I recorded, I didn't know what to do, to be honest, because I was like, I was such a little person on TikTok. I couldn't have had more than like 140 people that were my followers, maybe like 30 mutuals. So I was just a little nobody who was sitting in an ER bed that was like, what am I supposed to do now? I went to the place where you go when you're in emergency and they said no. What they're not going to help me because they let me lay in that hospital bed for so long without even like doing a humane checkup or checking my vitals. I had to walk down to the bathroom myself. It was pretty traumatizing. So the first video was just me going like, I exist. What do I do now? And it was incredible how many other survivors, women, activists, they all like immediately responded and shared my story. And while it was a little bit hard at first because I was like, oh, I didn't expect to go viral. That's kind of the part of social media. Sometimes you go viral when you're not intended to. And so then I felt the obligation because I felt like I stressed people out. And I know that sounds weird, but that's that good old anxiety disorder thing, right? Like I was like, oh, I stress these people out. I don't want to stress them out that I'm sick. So it's funny because you can actually find it's this YouTuber that went out and said he pointed out he's like she's apologizing for upsetting us and bothering us and while she's giving these updates. And then at one point I decided that it was like crucial for possibly getting laws back. And so that's why I also wrote a book. So that way it had physical photo evidence, it had my physical medical records and events and my say. So if anything ever happened to me or if it could ever help us with abortion rights, I put all the evidence there that they would need. I also have a doctor on recording saying that I was denied care due to trepidation in law. So I thought I was going to die after a certain point. And I was like, well, if I'm going to die, I need to at least I need something out there that shows why I died. And so
How old
that's why
you have another daughter,
I do. I have a daughter and
and how old was she
that
at the time?
like a year and a half. She was very small, very young. And I don't talk about it too much because it was hard because she was actually who helped helped wake me up when I blacked out in the hallway due to blood loss, right? So
Wow.
that's not a very charming thing. I had friends
Easy
that would,
memory.
yeah, because it's like, and it's also, I stopped eating because of the pain, right? And so my child stopped eating. And so Lucy, I had to like, I was like crying, right? And I was like I felt like I'd puke because I was in so much pain, but I was forcing myself to eat. And it was because my daughter, she wouldn't eat otherwise. And so I
Wow.
found out how much like it hurt her to see me in pain. And I can't imagine how many other mothers go through the same thing and are totally unsupported.
In Idaho, they
Yes.
have, tell me about their abortion law that led to all this.
Their abortion law is one of the most atrocious in the nation. It's not discussed properly, in my opinion. Idaho's abortion law, like it depends on which part you want to focus on. If you look at Senator Herndon, he actually declared that Idaho's abortion law is part of Idaho's murder statutes because when he changed part of the verbiage. Now, the only thing that was removing it from not being eligible for murder charges is if you look in the murder section, it says that excludes embryo or fetus in that area. So they have been long trying to change and add in the preborn language. So Representative Heather Scott has on her website very clearly that she wants to charge women that have abortions with murder. I've spoken with both of these representative and other representatives, like my direct representative from when I was there, his name's Brian Lenny. So I talked to him. He even publicly tweeted out a month before my miscarriage that miscarriage did not deserve abortion protections. And then literally a month later, I had my
Did you
very
talk to any
violent.
of these people face to face?
I did. And one of them told me that they wanted to get me charged for murder. And that would be Scott Herndon. He looked at me and said that he was going to make it his purpose because I had brought so much negative attention to what he was doing in Idaho because he is abortion abolitionist. He believes that if the mother cannot have the child, that it is her fault and any punishment thereafter was deserved, whether it was death through lack of medical care or death through execution. he is very much open about that.
Pardon the language, but he had the balls to say this to your face.
He did. He very much did. And he's very proud about it. So he also has the balls to say out in public that he's okay with incest and okay with child pregnancy. So on TikTok, even, I don't know TikTok, but X, formerly on a different account that I had, I messaged him and other people have confirmed the same thing because he's on record saying he doesn't care how young the child is. So if the child is like, we quizzed him, we're like, what if 7? And he's like, that's God's blessing or whatever. So literally he does not care how young the mother is when they get assaulted, even if they're still a child themselves. And so that's a movement that's moved across Idaho that people don't understand. And they really need to, the key question that people need to ask, are you an abortion abolitionist to people? Because that they will instantly, you can read on their face. And then if they are abortion abolitionists, know that they want women punished for
Say this
miscarriage.
guy's name again. I want to make sure everybody heard it, because if they just kind of glossed over the name when you said it the first time, I want to make sure everybody knows this guy's name in case they are in Idaho or want to contribute to whomever is going to run against this piece of garbage. What's his name again?
Scott Herndon. He just got unseated, but he's going to be running again. So it's important people know, because we worked really hard to get him unseated for that position, but he has a lot of standing in the community, and we're really worried that he's going to come back. And the same thing, like, to refocus on Brian Linney too, he agrees with him. And Brian Linney also has publicly made fun of Abraham Lincoln. The amount of racism that exists in Idaho is actually by elected officials that goes unchecked. Like, there's also somebody, we all luckily got them to apologize, but I can't remember his name right now, but if you Google it, you'll see there's somebody who equated us to cattle. He said, if you want to know how to help a woman in pregnancy, let me know, because I've helped cattle enough with that. And so that was fun.
That sounds like a right-wing nut job kind of thing to say, kind of typical for them.
Yep.
And
And they're even on record saying that forced pregnancy is the answer to our labor problem.
so
They're literally,
I think I've heard about that one. These are the
Yeah.
people running a state, and that state is Idaho. And people wonder why people on the left are worried about them having too much power. All right, we got to stop talking about those crazy people. We got to
that's
talk
okay.
more about you. Was it CNN that picked up your story?
Pretty much everybody, MSNBC, Rolling Stone, CNN, people on like SNL put it on their stories. Jennifer Aniston did too. It was
That
I was
must have
very
been a mind
humbled.
trip.
Yeah, it still gets, that same video still gets seen like every day, and I still look at it and I'm just, I don't know how that many millions of people on my page have seen it, let alone all the others. So I've been seen like easily 25 million times out there. And to me, I would have, if you that like rewind 3 years ago, 140 people following me, I would have never thought millions of people would have seen my video. But it's part of what helped VP Harris's campaign. Granted, it didn't go the way we wanted, right? But it caused a rippling movement where, because I stitched that video where John McAfee, he's Trump's former admin, right? And he does this dating app. This dating app is actually an app that funnels people to the Heritage Foundation. It's specifically meant to find conservative men. Most of the subscribers to the app are actually men. There's very few women. And then they connect, and it's kind of a guise for a dating app, but a networking resource for conservatives to get them to the Heritage Foundation and Project 2025. So this guy also
that
made,
explains why there aren't very many women on it.
exactly. And so they get a lot of those men to sign up, and then they're like, oh, you're lonely? Well, come join us in our, movement, and you can have a girl eventually, and we'll help you, and all that trad wife stuff. And so they reel them in, right? And this guy is the guy that I stitched. And it's because a lot of people had tagged me, and it was within 5 hours that I stitched his video. And so that's what apparently that's what rang for a lot of people. And I just said, we exist. one, I decentered myself. I told my story, but then I also decentered myself and reminded people that, like, yes, I exist, but also we exist and we are out there. And there are a lot of people that, if you're asking for the stories of people bleeding out in parking lots, a lot of times dead people can't talk. And it's very hard for medical release forms to be allowed to go to news stories if you don't have powers of attorney, court judicial processes. That's a gatekeeping process that unfortunately a lot of people don't recognize. So a lot of us survivors have to pick up the slack because of the legal system that the news stories have to go through. Because every single time I have to supply like my medical records, I supply my like the wristband bracelet that I had, my prescription. So people think that I just instantly get published, but every single one of these stories, I had to talk to them and then they had to look through my medical records, send it to their legal, fact check what I said with the doctors on call, and then get it published. And
Well,
it's not really necessarily always easy, but we get it done.
well, I'm not a woman, obviously, and I would never have to go through what you went through. But on behalf of my 5 granddaughters, thank you.
Of course. And if Trump v. Casa hadn't happened, we would actually likely have federal rights because my case was with the same. So I'm suing. I'm in part of 2 federal rights cases. You can find me in Moyle v. Idaho right now in the Ninth Court Circuit Appeals. I'm part of what helped the Boise region now keep EMTALA rights. The same thing for this other case. It will also help the Boise region because of the Trump v. Casa ruling. Unfortunately, federal right cases no longer actually, there's no federal court district with that ruling now. So it really messed up a lot of people's, like, that's 2.5 years of work that I've gone through. That was like, I want to say thousands of hours in of itself, that side of it, trying to get that. And it's not that I regret it because it will still be precedent for other people or until we get other judicial change. But I have SEYB v. Idaho, and that is in the same court district as a Clinton appointed judge in Idaho, which is incredibly hard to think about, right? So that's a blue Democratic appointed judge in a very red state that happened to be who got my case. That is a very amazing case that they tried to kick out multiple times and they couldn't. So my opinion is that Trump v. Casa ruling was partly to basically shut down people like me because I have a doctor on recording that says I was denied due to law. And so it's kind of, Idaho's going to be so much more protected, but I was hoping to protect the nation. And before that ruling, I would have protected the nation by the end of next year, approximately. So it is hard to know that that got waylaid, but at the same point, a simple new bill pushed through Congress could correct that. So a lot of people think that, yes, this is going to be a lot of work on all of our parts to get this corrected, but people think that it's impossible and it's not. And so we've got hope. It's just always harder, right?
Well, if the Trump bill that he signed the other day that we call the Trump tax, if that's not enough, and
Yes.
if the absolutely embarrassing stuff we see from him and the Liberian president telling him he speaks good English, and I mean, that's just one of thousands of things he does to embarrass us. If that's not enough to tell people how hard we have to work for 26 and to get Democrats elected, add this to the pile because I mean, it's so important. You had this horrible thing happen to you, and you're a survivor. And that's how I described you on last week's episode. I said, I'm going to have a survivor of Idaho's abortion laws on the show because that's how I think of you. And you survived that, and you are in the courts fighting them, and you did all that media stuff. You were invited by the media. They said, tell us your story. And where you took all of that and tell us what you did with it.
So before that, there's one thing I think people should know is through all this, while I was in Idaho, there were a lot of, I received actual kidnapping threats. They literally threatened to kidnap, kill me, and rape me and impregnate me in their basement. And I have like screenshot evidence of that in my book, right? So it was on top of all that other stuff
What's
that I
the
was
name of your
going.
book?
Hushed History. I wrote Hushed History. It's available on Amazon or through like direct purchase for printing. I have two. I technically have more than that. I've published multiple books, but that's the one that I would want to talk about for right now for this. And it has very gory pictures in it because it has the actual photo evidence of my miscarriage and the pain that I was, like, all the trigger warnings for that book. But I wanted it to be admissible to court forever. So that way, even after, let's say, 20 years down the line, they want to pull something out, they can pull out that book. That book is now forever in time admissible into court because it is a firsthand accounting. It has medical records and it references existing things, and it has news story articles in it. So that way, even if they try to take down those news story articles, I put them printed in a book so that way they can't destroy history, which I felt like was important. And it wasn't important for like I'm history. It was important that it's our mutual history, that these physical proof that I can legally give people. So I took all of that pain, all of those threats, all of the hardship, understanding people like me exist where I'm a single mom now, but I was obviously not in the best relationship then. So a little bit of a single mom then, right? And so I went through all of that. And then I saw this huge hole in the system. And I started talking to other people, and it was in large BIPOC people. So when I first posted the video, I actually start with, I might delete this later. And inside the comments of that video, or the very first one I ever went viral when I was laying in that hospital bed, were people that were Black and Indigenous saying, people aren't listening to us. We're getting denied healthcare. Please do not delete this video. And so that's where I had to sit with myself and be like, I'm going to push past my very introverted nature and understand that I was such a nerd. My last name didn't exist online before this, except for like in LinkedIn. You couldn't find me anywhere. The first news story person that found me did a search for my face with like facial recognition software to find a social media account that matched it. That's how they had to find me, because I had all my stuff so scrubbed because I'm such a nerd. So I sat there and I said, well, with my white privilege and with the fact that I did go viral, I saw all these holes, and I saw the privilege that I had. And I saw that a lot of people that ask for nonprofit foundations or other things to be created don't understand the labor and the work and the volunteer hours that you do. As you know, I've done 2,500 hours of volunteer labor into Unity Harbor to get it to create it. I've
Okay,
done the creation.
now we got to back up a little bit
Oh,
because
yes.
we haven't
I'm
told
getting you to
anybody what Unity Harbor is.
right. I just keep, you're my friend. I keep talking like you're
Yeah,
my friend. So
I
Unity
know, you know. Let's tell everybody what Unity Harbor is, this thing that you took all that um, experience, turned it into.
Unity Harbor is a 501c3 organization that was created in Oregon, but it's a national charitable organization that helps with healthcare and housing and justice. That's the best way that I found to describe it. We read Project 2025, studied it, and created a nonprofit organization that counters the essential parts that deconstruct our nation in order to help keep it alive. So one of our main pivotal focuses is abortion access and abortion healthcare, because there are a lot of people that don't have access to that. Then we have somebody we stably help with gender affirming care every month, amongst a few others, but we also help other people we help honestly a lot of domestic abuse victims flee. And some of them are single mothers, some of them are disabled people that have been in disabled abuse by where like their families financially abusing them and keeping their money without their permission, or other people that almost died in a red state because of the inequality of healthcare. So we helped rehome all those people. We have also
Mhm.
helped other people get like hysterectomies and access to healthcare, which they couldn't locate. So we created a very diverse network of resources where sometimes even if we can't supply the resources, we connect them with the organization that can. And we became kind of a web of organizations as we continued to grow. We're the main funnel place, but we're like, oh, you need that, go here for that state and that sort of thing.
It-
And that way people don't have to feel so scared.
and how do you help them? What did you build up there in the mountains?
In the mountains. Oh, so we have a Skystone Vale LLC that partners with Unity Harbor that has 36 acres. So we have two parcels of property. I have an amazing connection of people here that helped us find both of these. So that way they're spaced apart. So we have a property in Costilla County that we use as a refuge location and a co-op land share to help people be able to flee an emergent need. We've helped a ton of immigrant families flee that, like, whether their partner was taken and they didn't know where to go safely, or I'm talking 10, I'm talking hundreds at this point, is what I've cross-referenced and verified of people that have gone out to that camping location, let alone other people that have now citizenship stability because they get to co-op land share own that campground that's in Costilla County. And then we have our Saguache County co-op community is what we're building, which is going to be a tiny house and RV community where 1 out of every 5 RV spots are free to those that are either disabled or fleeing or in emergent need. And we have people that are wanting to set up even like maybe a temporary yurt housing for somebody coming for abortion care. And so we are creating a very like eco-friendly community in Swatch County in Moffat, Colorado, specifically on 36 beautiful acres where we technically have beautiful flat plains, but it's surrounded by both the mountain ranges on both sides. And you can see the sand pits out here,
The sand
the
dunes,
sand
the Great
dune.
National
Yeah.
Sand Dunes. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the sand dunes from our property, like physically
Nice.
see them. And so it's a gorgeous property and we look to expand,
Well,
but that
let
is
me
what we're
back
doing
you
there.
up a minute again. So
Yeah.
I'm going to run through the list of examples of people that can go to Unity Harbor for help and tell me if I miss anybody. One, if you're an LGBTQ teen and you're in a situation where your family is just way too whacked out conservative and you can't be there anymore and you need a place to go, you can call Unity Harbor, right?
And yes, and we help get them connected with the legal recourse of action to help get them to safety. Colorado has amazing laws for that.
Okay. And if you are a woman in a um, forced birth state like Idaho or Georgia or so many of the others, and you know that things could be bad for you if you either try and take care of your pregnancy or if you choose, for whatever reason, that abortion is your right path, but you can't do it there in your red state, you can call Unity Harbor.
Yes, we have a nonprofit organization that we partner with that will mail you medicine nationwide with free of cost for abortion medicine. And then if you need actual like medical healthcare services, we will find the nonprofit organization locally that can help you. Or in some instances, we have fundraised and specifically helped many people get services. That way they could get healthcare legally.
Okay. If you are a woman or a man in an
Yep.
abusive relationship and it's not safe for you and or your kids and you need a place to go, you can call Unity Harbor.
Yes. And we have housed both men and women that have left abusive scenarios. Now, some of those people hurt people, hurt people. Sometimes they also end up being abusers. So then we had to rehome them. So people get to know that no matter what happens, we make sure people stay safe.
Okay. If I suddenly find myself homeless next week and I have absolutely no idea what to do, can I call Unity Harbor?
Yep. I got 2 weeks of boondocking land that you can stay on for free in Costilla County. And I've got a tent you can borrow and a fan to keep you cool. And so that's where we have those on hand to make sure that people, if they have the car, all they have is a car and they're coming here and fleeing, 'cause we have some people that are like that. I have those in, like, hold on. I actually like literally like right here. This is one of the tents we have. It's a little like a little pop-up 2-person tent. And
Cool.
so we have these on hand.
All right. Who am I missing?
Let's see, we have abortion care, LGBTQIA. So it's not just like the teens that would leave, right? So there are a lot of people that are elder adults that need community. And so what we have found is that that's one of the biggest resources we can give people that are in the elder LGBTQIA is helping them find community and let them know that they're not alone, because that's a misnomer. A lot of people want you to feel like you're just a lone boat, but there's a lot of people that want to build community with you. So we help that. We help unhoused. We help abortion access. We help miscarriage access. We also have helped people with hysterectomies, helping them navigate hysterectomies and gender affirming care surgeries. We have also done travel. So say somebody is traveling from one side of the country to the other and they're scared because they're traveling alone. We do what we call travel buddies. And basically, it's somebody that you can talk to on the phone while you're traveling and that calls you if they don't hear from you. And that way you feel safe as you travel across the nation. So we have that. And then one of the things we aren't talking about yet, but it's an in development app that we're doing is app that's going to let people across the nation join in and like say that you're really good at phone calls, but you hate paperwork. And I love paperwork, but I really don't want to make a phone call, right? You'll be able to do social credit kind of things. So you'll go in and you'll make someone else's phone call for them. And then you'll get like 3 coins that then you can redeem for someone else to do a chore for you, like paperwork. And so that is
That's
one
creative.
of the things, yeah, that we're really focusing on helping because it's going to help our communities that we build because we're building sister communities at the same time. So people can help across in communities and outside and find safe places to go and safe communities. So we're working
So
on a lot, but we've got lots of people to help.
I grew up within 100 miles of you, and I know some people over there in the valley. I know some really nice, really good people. I also know some very conservative people. How are the social networks over there responding to you?
So it's
And when I say
amazing.
social work networks, I'm trying to think social services networks.
So I've actually, most of the nonprofit organizations that are here love that we're here. I've talked to like the one that does the local food pantry one, and then there's one that helps with the solar initiatives. And then also I'm actually close friends with the person that does a lot of the city events. I don't want to say like super close friends. I want to say acquaintances. Let's say acquaintances. They were, but I have their cell and I can text them anytime kind of thing. Full transparency. Some of the people out here are really afraid about development because of the dark sky that rule out here. They're worried about if corporations come in and they're going to
Right.
ruin the pretty dark sky. When I explained to them that it was co-op by other people, so it's not like necessarily a huge corporation coming in, but this is a nonprofit organization and people co-op owning this property, it made a lot of people feel more at ease. And then the BIPOC community here, because there is, even with progressive communities, there can be racism, right? And
Oh, yeah.
there is unfortunately racism out here. Since we've been bringing more progressive people, the BIPOC communities are actually starting to feel more comfortable and starting to go to gatherings and starting to participate in community events because they feel like people are there that are going to stand up for them. So we've already made a visible difference in the comfortable aspect for people feeling safe in a time where most people are feeling less safe, but here we are feeling helping people feel more safe. And so that I feel proud of.
All right. So here, so we can't stay here too long because you have a 9 to 5 to go to, right?
Yes, I work for, I'm going to be real vague about who, but I help
Yeah.
with
Well, my point in bringing up your
yep,
job wasn't because we need to know where you work and what you do, but the point is you're not getting rich doing this Unity Harbor thing.
I give more
You,
money than
how do
I've ever
you
got.
go ahead?
Oh, I've given more money than I've ever received, right? And so that's something that it's funny when people start, because even outside of what I give for Unity Harbor and how I fronted all of the startup funds myself and everything along those lines, I have a really good, it's a tech day job, but I work overnight. And so I have stability in my own personal income. So I don't have to worry about in these dystopian times being unhoused, unfed as much as other people. So I like through my health savings account, I pay for somebody's health care because I have that availability. I go, all right, I'm going to pay for this for you because I can do that and I have that privilege, right? And so when people look at me and they try to think that like, oh, she's trying to capitalize the system, I pay to volunteer here. And that's the I anything that I get paid out, I've paid because sometimes I'll reimburse myself for some things, but a lot of times I take that reimbursed money and I turn around and I send somebody money to go see their dying mother. or I send money to somebody because they literally text me and say, I haven't eaten in 2 days and I would like
Well,
food. And so
well,
I
you
send
you
them money.
can't do all of this by yourself, right? So
Yeah.
where where do you get the funding for all this besides you?
I do things like I'm going to get a tattoo because I did a tattoo raffle where people could donate to that. We get some donations through partnerships and then also some amazing people that continue to give even just like 5, 10, or $100 every once in a while, every like month or so to unityharbor.org because we have a lot of places to donate directly on our website. We're in Benevity, so that way like people can do employer
Okay,
match.
Carmen,
Uh,
Carmen, if you're going to
yes,
tell people about your website, you got to
yes,
tell people about your website.
yes. So unityharbor.org is where they can go and they can see about what we're doing. It has on the very front page the financial transparency for 2024. And then there's places to donate and it links to our partner site too. And also technically, I know that this sounds like I do so much, but I also do design merch and clothes. So if you look on
Okay.
our website, all
Are
the
you telling me
profits,
I could have purchased a Unity Harbor shirt at some point down the line? I
yeah,
would
and
have
like a
had
cup
one
and
by
other
now.
things.
I'm
Yeah.
going to buy one so that I can do it and wear it in some of my videos. So it's Unity
I
Harbor, UnityHarbour. A lot of people are going to want to spell harbor BOR. It's BOUR in this case. UnityHarbor.com, right?
Yes. And if you even just Google Unity Harbor, because we've been seen or talked about so much, we're the first link. And so if
Cool.
people just Google Unity Harbor and they click on that first link, it'll bring to us, and then it'll have like the donate link right there on the top and information for that for just different things you want to learn about us.
Okay. And since Carmen seems so hesitant to do it, I'm going to do it. Folks, go to Unity Harbor and donate to this incredible work that Carmen is doing. Your George Bailey factor is off the charts. And I
I
don't
don't
know
know
if
what
you've
that
seen,
means.
all right. I call it the George Bailey factor. Uh, I don't want to take up too much of our time, but watch the movie. It's a Wonderful Life. George Bailey is the main guy. And if you watch that, you'll know what I mean by the George Bailey factor.
Dude, it's been forever since I've seen It's a Wonderful Life. That every time a
It
bell rings, the
rings, an
angel
angel
gets
gets
to.
its wing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. I guess
Yeah.
I kind of like I kind of am. My friends say that I'm a little bit of like a martyr for trying to help people. I'm very bad at asking people to donate, and so I ask every once in a while, and so I appreciate you asking because I try to I ask people to help me ask because it's weird when it's always just one face asking all the time. So I very much appreciate that help.
Well,
Very.
don't ever run for politics because that's a key part. I'm sitting in the room where my grandkids who are down for a visit live are it's their bedroom while they're here. And they're like, "We're tired. We want to go to bed."
No.
They're
Thank you so much for having me.
all
Well,
right. So,
folks,
folks,
looks like we're back at the
um,
barn and it's time to call it a
you might have
day.
noticed
I
I
sure do appreciate
started
you
this one a little
spending your time
different. I
with
didn't
me.
talk about any current
If
event
you want to
stuff,
help
and I'm
keep
going to
this
end it a little
podcast
different
going by supporting it,
with
you
a
can get a
plea,
paid subscription
another
on
plea.
Substack.
Go to
Resistor Vic.
unityharbor.com.
Or if you're the type
Look up
that'd rather go to
Carmen
PayPal,
Broodster,
I'm also resistorvic at gmail.com.
BROEDSTER.
Thanks again.
Is that right?
Broesder. It
Yes.
said
If you
like
want,
Punky Brewster, but spelled all
okay.
weird.
If you want to learn more about her story, and her book again is
Hushed history.
Hushed History. Go and buy these things. Learn more about Carmen because she is an inspiration. Your little girl is going to grow up and have a hero that so many people don't. That's wonderful. So, with that, I don't know who my guest is next week because it has been such a cluster mess of a week with technical problems and getting ready to go to the UNF America tour in Tampa this Saturday. I will be there with Destiny and let's see who else. Off the top of my head, a whole bunch of us creators are going down there because that piece of garbage, Charlie Kirk, is having his students I don't even remember what he calls it. I've read it a million times, but I dislike the guy so much. I just get this mental block. I don't even want to say his name. He goes around the country recruiting young people into the MAGA cult, and we're going down there to provide a counterbalance. If you only got $5, give it to Carmen before you give it to me, because
I don't
her
know.
work.
I think you're good. You got good work too. We're all doing good things. That's incredibly important, and I'm so proud of you, Vic. I can't say that enough. You're
uh,
doing amazing work. I'm very proud.
All right, folks, I've got to wrap it up so that my grandkids can get into bed. So thanks, Carmen. We're going to do this again down the road. And one of these days, I'm getting over the hill so that we can make some videos together. And
Sounds
I can't
good.
wait
I'm
to do
coming
it.
over to your area too.
Yeah, but I'm going to be in Florida. All right.
Have
All right,
fun.
folks. Thanks for tuning in. I hope we made it worth your while. Good night, Carmen.
Good night.
Well, folks, looks like we're back at the barn and it's time to call it a day. I sure do appreciate you spending your time with me. If you want to help keep this podcast going by supporting me, you can get a paid subscription on Substack, where I'm Resistor Vic. Or if you're the type that'd rather go to PayPal, I'm also resistorvic@gmail.com. Thanks again.